Hi, this is Doug Ward from Tech Britain. I'm here today at the Innovation Warehouse with Shpiro, the CEO and founder. Thanks for your time, Ami. It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Cheers. Just for our viewers, can we talk about your background to start with, please?
My background, I'm a techie. I studied mathematics, computer science, sort of artificial intelligence. I'm very techie. I was there before C++ was commercially available. We built our own object-oriented libraries into C to allow us to develop in an object-oriented way. I'm a very heavy Lisp programmer. Today, if I were programming, I'd be doing Ruby on Wheels. But I haven't been doing it for a number of years. I grew up here in the UK, but I'm Israeli. I was born in Israel, went back to Israel, went through university, military, spent 5.5 years in the Israeli military, where I was lucky enough to have the opportunity to develop some what I call logistic optimization paradigms, basically some models for doing optimization. And when I left the military, I was also very lucky that I was asked to continue managing that for them, and I got the rights to commercialize it and turn it into a commercial platform. So I was running that project for about 9 years and developing a commercial platform for logistics optimization. Over the 90s, built that up into a company we floated on NASDAQ at the end of the 90s as Click Software. Valuation is around $300 million. It sort of fluctuates around $250 to $350 million. I've run 2 NASDAQ traded software. One, obviously, I was a founder or developer of the product. The other had a much wider web footprint at the time. And I've been doing angel investments for about 10 years, all across the board. And a few years ago, I came to the conclusion that I wasn't that good an investor, in a sense that I was more looking towards putting knowledge and doing kind of knowledge for equity exchange, and I decided to get more into lending money than investing money, and had some good experiences with a few companies, and then decided to institutionalize it and get it all under one roof. So this is innovation. I'm now onto Innovation Warehouse. Yeah. So this is kind of an institutionalization of what was going on before. So rather than doing everything virtually and running around, working with lots of different companies, we've now got it all under one roof.
So people are watching this who want to get involved with Innovation Warehouse. What kind of criteria do you have for the space?
There isn't any written criteria at the moment. There might be eventually. There isn't anything written, but it's I guess we're looking for. There's a predominance of tech startups over here because that's the knowledge that we have inside. As we build up our team, we may open that up to other areas and other sectors. If people come in off the street with an idea, then we'll probably point them in various other directions that they can go in order to get their ideas more mature and get some kind of traction. So we're looking for companies that have a little bit of traction, and we define ourselves as being in the 75 to 750k investment range. So we assume that when a company has come in here, most of the companies that have come in here, they will have had some friends and family, they might have had a grant, they'll already have something and they'll be on the way to, it's a kind of investment readiness process, getting traction, getting the right ticks in the right boxes, getting ready for investors, and so forth. So an exit from here is a good Series A, but if somebody comes in here, they have a business plan, they've got some kind of idea, we'll point them where to go and encourage them to do that before they come back.
Does every company who comes in get involved with the investment side of Innovation Warehouse?
No, not at all. I mean, there's no initial compunction. Basically, when a company comes here, they can have as much or as little interaction with the investment side as they want. We usually want the company to be here for at least a few weeks, so we can get to know them, get to know the people, and then we kind of find out what sort of opportunity there is, and then we decide if we want to take that any further. And there's a kind of it's a natural sort of organic process that happens.
And what do you see for the long-term vision for Innovation Warehouse?
Long-term, the sort of I would say the medium term for this place, which is also the long term for this place, is you've got about 50 companies, of which 20 companies, a syndicate here will have positions in. Companies will be here between 3 and 24 months, and it will be full. And that will be it, basically. That's what you'll be able to do in a space of this size. A bigger vision for the Innovation Warehouse is, I think this model has value. It's a kind of, because the community is self-sustaining, it's run as not-for-profit, it doesn't require any outside influence, it can control its own destiny. There's something about this model that I think can be repeated and can be scaled, well, not necessarily scaled up, but could be repeated horizontally. I think it is a social enterprise type model, and you're basically taking the youthful exuberance of young entrepreneurs, startups, although they can be of any age, with the age and experience of a slightly more mature group of people who could also be of any age, and bringing those together to de-risk opportunities. We work together with skin in the game. There are various things that we've learned, for example, by not allowing or not encouraging services to be sold over here, but creating a kind of collaborative ecosystem. There are various things that kind of work, allow a community like this to form and flourish. And I think, the bigger picture is to see, well, if it's got some value to add, is to see it being repeated in other urban centres across the world.
We're speaking off camera, myself and Sean, about the organic nature of Innovation Warehouse. We should commend you on that. We think it's a fantastic thing to exist in the community. In terms of the local community in London, what's your thoughts on the tech community here?
Well, okay, what do I think of the tech community? I think, well, these are just my observations, so I'm just speaking for myself here.
Sure.
Tech City, I think, it's to a great extent, it's a marketing program that has to do with the Olympics, bringing inward investment, bringing attention, and it's a sort of coincidence that it's kind of happening here. I think the recession has kind of created a sort of opportunity, a kind of disillusionment with the way things, the normal way of sort of getting a job, and it's kind of created a lot of justification for doing your own thing. And there are also a lot of people who've been pushed out of the job kind of circle, perhaps with a little bit of money. They want to try doing their own thing. So that, together with the sort of recession background of what's going on, together with the sort of tech city stuff that's going on, together with the huge amount of what's going on anyway in a city like London, in terms of what was fragmented around or across all the universities. There was no ecosystem. Nobody was, there wasn't connectivity between different elements of the community. Now there is a community, there is an ecosystem, and I think it's creating a lot of traction. I don't think Tech City is about Old Street roundabout, I think, or Silicon roundabout or whatever. I think Tech City is a good marketing campaign, but actually the brand of London is much bigger and much more powerful than Tech City. You've got some fantastic universities over here, you've got some fantastic creatives over here, you've got a huge amount of resources, and now it's all beginning to talk to each other and create opportunity. The last piece of the pie is money. You've got a huge financial centre just across the road from here, yet it hasn't actually started to properly subscribe to the potential of what's going on here. So that's kind of what I think of. I think it's fantastic, basically. But I think, you know, the sort of tech city bit is just the sort of, you know, the tip of the iceberg of what's really going on. And I think that iceberg is, you know, is trying to emerge more and more. The bottleneck is money, basically. It's up to a certain point you can evolve this, but, you know, to create sustainable businesses and to grow them, you know, money is important. Money and guidance is an important element, and that doesn't yet exist in the. It's not yet there. There's too much. The UK are not risk averse. There's huge amounts of entrepreneurs. Nobody's afraid of failing over here on the entrepreneurial level. When people are afraid to fail in the city, that's where they're afraid to fail. They hide their losses. They're not pioneering. It's you know, there's some shifts that have to take place over there in order to get the financial community and, you know, and the institutional financial community looking in this direction and supporting what's going on.
So do you think that's a role for the government to play in aiding this?
Yes, I think there is a role for the government to play. You know, I mean, if you take something like SEIS, what's good about SEIS is, okay, it's kind of drawing awareness to the opportunity and trying the opportunities here, and also trying to limit the downside for certain kinds of individuals. EIS also good because of the capital gains tax, but basically, you know, if you want to invest in unlisted companies, you should be able to write it off. You should be able to write that off as tax. Keep it very, very simple. You want to make a sort of capital gains tax holiday or capital gains tax break. That's excellent as well, but it all can be kept very simple just by writing it off. You know, instead of kind of making it all very complicated. What the government did in Israel, which worked, was they kind of ploughed some money into the ecosystem and then walked away from it, allowed it to be privatised. You know, the government don't know how to do startup by definition. Even, you know, all of these corporate environments, you know, they all think of startups as small corporate, and they start. It's a completely different way of thinking. I think this Angel Co-Fund is good, and perhaps doing more things in that kind of direction would be good. Simplifying tax, you know, what can the government do? They can take tax away from early stage companies. They can create more development areas, development zones. So yeah, there are things they can do, but it's more like getting barriers out of the way than getting actively involved.
I may like to say thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Cheers.